Welcome to the BPM360 podcast. I'm Russell.
And I'm Caspar. And together we will help you navigate the treacherous waters of the BPM adoption journey. I hope you enjoy the podcast. Russell, we're coming to an end. We're still in beautiful Cologne, by the way, but we're in a different venue right now. As you can see behind us, there's a little Weihnachtsmarkt, a Christmas market, Christmas fair. But as we're saying goodbye, because you're going to get on your bike.
Yeah, I've got a bike right here.
Yeah, there's a bike right there below. You can't see that, by the way, but believe us, it's there. Maybe it's a good way to look forward a little bit.
Yes.
And we gave Mirko Kloppenburg a couple of suggestions of what we think the BPM market will do in 2025. And that just got published like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So let's dive into them really quickly in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Give the people some ideas about it.
Yes, and give people an outlook on what we're planning with the podcast.
As well, yes,
Yeah,
I think
so
that's really good.
So after doing a recap on 2024, let's have a look forward to 2025.
Yeah.
So what are the 3 points?
All right, so the first one is a move from formal process documentation coming from either paper to wherever you have it, we'll use AI to make a model out of it. I think that was number one that we gave Mirko.
Yep, and definitely triggered by all this AI technology that you see that a lot of, say, these formal structures you need are very helpful to map also unstructured data, but to really utilize it, that's something where technology is really driving forward a lot of, say, informal documented process information that can be used.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
So
that's number one. I think number two is the continuing conversion of process management and process mining into what we, let's say, call process intelligence.
Yeah. So we talked about that a lot about in 2024, how many things are being kicked off, and also consolidation on the market from a tool perspective, also customer departments moving together, consolidating their initiatives. So this is something that's going to move forward strong in 2025.
Absolutely, and I agree. And number three, and that's a bit more conceptual, I think, and a little bit further away, but I think we're going to see the first signs of that in 2025, is that we're going to be looking much more at an object centricity point of view, where you say, listen, we have objects that flow through an organization, things like a sales order, a purchase order, an invoice, and they are being touched by different various processes. And instead of looking, it's the same with mining, where you go from case-centric to object-centric. A traditional process model is quite case-centric. And I think that we're going to see the first signs of more object-centric modeling somewhere in 2025.
Yes, and I think that the whole basic idea is that the more we bring in more unstructured data, the more you have to expand your meta model around these objects. So you have to think much more object relation centric, and not having it just hammered down to like a pure process repository in the sense of a pure process hierarchy. And you have to think much more extensively. And the relations between the objects can become much more complex, and the granularity of the objects will be much more diverse depending on the use cases. So these are like the 3 trends where I think a lot of maturity on the tool side as well as on the organizational side is required to then, but why are they doing it? Because then they see that there's real value they can harvest from this.
I agree.
And I think one term around this is digital twin. Everybody's talking digital twin. The baseline of a digital twin is a very clear understanding of the actual company on an object model level.
Yes.
To be able to then digitalize that, bring it into a repository, and then also make use of it. So that they're the topics that are definitely going to be happening in 2025 from our perspective.
Yeah, of course it's.
Digging into the object-centric topic, I think looking at the podcast, definitely next year we want to continue with our interviews and really touch a bit on the academic side.
As well,
So we have Professor Scheer lined up for an interview. He's in the SAP academic board. I've been doing a lot of thinking and research around repositories and here, I think also from a more holistic digital twin perspective, it'll be interesting to talk to him because he goes from strategy down to, let's say, a transactional level and really has put it into a more generalized model. So that's something which fits very much with the object-centric movement.
And I got two more academics on the wish list.
Yeah.
I think Professor Dr. Wil van der Aalst would be very interesting, as he's the godfather of mining.
Yeah. Okay.
And if we're at
he will visit us. If he will visit us.
If he will, we'll come to his office in Aachen.
Okay.
I mean, for me, it's a quick trip. And I think the other one is Professor Scheer himself.
Ooh.
Let's see if we can get him on the show. I think that would be. He's the godfather of BPM, basically.
Yes. So let's see. That's up for a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can make that work.
That's great. And another thing we want to continue next year is definitely go to the events. I think the events were very interesting. From the keynotes we saw, really inspiring to see what people do. And yeah, big shout out to Kerry and Oliver here, because that was also not just it was inspiring and it was great fun.
Yes.
Having a podcast session on one of these events.
Yeah.
So we want to keep that up.
And we still want to have practitioners on the show, like we did with Corinne.
Yeah.
Frank.
Yeah.
Good. If I say that correctly.
Corinna Frank.
Frank, not Franken. Sorry, Corinna. I got the first name right at least. But we want to have more of those on the show as well.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people out there that are more than interesting enough to be on the show. To be honest.
Yeah, but our listeners are still a bit holding back on volunteering. So here, also again, a big shout out to anybody who wants to join the show. Just send us an email. Just reach out to us on LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
And share your story, because as you also hopefully maybe listened into the session with Corinna, that was really great. And we want to learn more about your BPM superpowers, as also Corinna revealed hers on her long journey to BPM. And that's definitely also something we want to cover. Last but not least, we haven't quite. We published last year a session with Sohail, a partner, or a consulting partner in the Middle East, in UAE. And we also said that the Middle East is so into process management. They're moving so fast. They have so many great cases, very special cases as well, that we want to dedicate a series of sessions where we invite people from the Middle East region.
Yeah, like a spin-off.
Yeah, spin-off Middle East edition. Yeah. Together with Sohail, invite people we know, he knows, and talk specifically about their use cases, their thinking about BPM, and that'll also have an own spin to it, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with this little short episode, welcome in 2025. And hopefully that you'll stay with us for a couple of more episodes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Cheers.
Bye-bye.